New York Giants, let's go defense. Ballin'. New York Giants, fly high, you know this.
Hi and welcome to the Colorado G-Men Show. Today we're going to review the debacle of the Eagles and Giants. The game started with a called fumble on a kickoff return where rookie Joel Davis' forearm actually did hit the ground, and the call was overturned. 2 plays later, they gave up an interception where Eli tried to force the ball to his replacement tight end, Scott Simonson. Didn't get much better from there. 3 plays later, the Eagles scored a touchdown within 2 minutes of the start of the game. This is a team who had 7 first-quarter points coming into the game. The Giants graciously tripled that mark. According to ESPN win probability, the Eagles were 81.3% likely to win by the end of the first quarter and 97.1% likely to win by halftime. And it felt that way. You guys, Giants, you're making me drink. Salud. Let's talk about the defense. Another 30-plus point night for the opponents of the Giants. That makes 3 games in a row. At least Olivier Vernon is still a force. We needed him all season. Still, this D couldn't get off the field. The Eagles were 9 for 16 on third down conversion. There was a stretch of 5 straight possessions that the Eagles either scored or they missed a makeable field goal. The offense. The Eagles used a lot of zone coverage, which seems to be the offense's kryptonite. The Eagles generally use a lot of man-to-man, so I'm guessing that Pat Shurmur was game planning for that. Nate Sauter is just plain awful. Gettleman may have been too wrapped up in making sure he gets an offensive lineman that he had an itchy trigger finger with the cap money. The O-line as a collective has given up 4 sacks and 13 hits on Eli. That's 17 hits on Eli in the game. That is more than 1/3 of his dropbacks. That means that 1 out of every 3 times he's dropping back to pass the ball, he's getting hit. Say what you want about check down Eli, but there were at least a few plays where the timing was off because of that offensive line. Now stop and listen. That awful offensive line from last year that everybody wanted to redo the entire team, blow up the team for. This offensive line is worse than last year, okay, and better paid. Through 6 weeks, the 2018 line has given up 20 sacks, which projects over 53 sacks for a 16-game season compared to 34 last season. They've allowed 40 quarterback hits already, which projects to 107 compared to 70 of last season. They've produced 18 negative rushing plays, projecting to 48 compared to 37 last season, and projected fewer rushes. They project to have fewer rushing yards than last season at 1,400 versus 1,549 of last season, even with Saquon Barkley creating these 20, 30, 40-yard rushes with no running lane. Anyone missing Eric Flowers yet? I gotta drink to that. As anemic as this offense and the team really is, Saquon Barkley is the one bright spot you can count on. He was 1 yard away from being the first Giant in history to have a 100-yard game in passing and rushing. He had more than half of the Giants' yards and more than half of their points. Let's talk about Giants' luck. The Giants have just not been the beneficiaries of good bounces all season. Whether it's poor officiating or the ball just seems to find the opponent, this game was no different. On the first drive interception, the ball bounced off Simonson right into the hands of the defender. On the Eagles' second possession, the Giants hold the Eagles to 3rd and 7, and Carson Wentz is hit as he throws, and Aguilar just somehow finds a way to make his way back to the lame duck pass to catch it in traffic that should have been a turnover. On another 3rd down play, at the start of the second quarter, Carson Wentz fumbles the snap. It goes right back into his hands. He throws the ball as the pocket's collapsing on him, and it hits Barwin right in his hands and deflects into his running back Smallwood. They don't get the first down, but this could have been a critical turnover as the Giants would have been in field goal range and knocking on the end zone's door. And while everybody's piling on Eli Manning, why don't we heap on the top? When opposing Ds show up with the soft zone, Eli just turns into check down Eli. There are holes in a soft cover too. Eli can't figure out how to get to Odell Beckham the ball when he's drawing a double team on almost every play. If you watch this show regularly, you know how much of an Eli supporter I am. That's why it pains me so much to say that it's time to move on. I'm not saying this because I don't think Eli can perform anymore. I'm also not saying that Eli is the problem. In fact, I think his contribution to how bad this season has gone is buried so far beneath how bad this offensive line is. In fact, I assure you that whoever they bring in will do worse than Eli. But the Giants organization clearly doesn't know how to use Eli, and he needs an offensive line to protect him. To save Eli and the franchise, I think both need to mend separately. This message is to you, Tom Coughlin and Dave Gettleman. I will buy you guys dinner. Go have steaks and scotch on me and figure out how to restructure Eli's contract and trade him to the Jags so he could finally win his third Super Bowl. Pat Shurmur. We just went over that Eli can't figure out the cover 1, cover 2 zones. A lot of that blame has to come at Shurmur's feet. He's got to work with his quarterback to find out an answer. If you had a rookie quarterback, you'd be having to work on him on all the system, let alone just trying to figure out a cover 1, cover 2 defense. And balance the damn attack. I say it over and over again, but it doesn't get any better. One of the reasons the offensive line is so bad is that the Giants are one-dimensional. These don't even worry about the run. They just pin their ears back and look for Eli. How he handles the next few weeks will determine his future with this organization. With all the adversity and that little child with the dyed hair to deal with in the locker room, this locker room could run away from him. Which brings me to Odell Beckham. I'm just sick of this. He acts like a kid in middle school that nobody wants to play with. The worst offense, which he was fined for, and good for Pat Shurmur for taking a stand on this, was he was asked if he was happy in New York after the Giants just paid him $95 million. His answer was, I don't know. His answer was the same when asked about Eli. He's so self-centered and self-absorbed that he actually believes that anyone in that media room cares whether he's happy in New York. That question's designed to use you as your self-absorbed ass to get a story to tear apart the locker room. These aren't your buddies you're having a beer with on your front stoop. Gettleman said he wanted to bring back Giants pride, and Odell Beckham is not that. Eli is, Saquon is, Landon is, Odell Beckham is not. He was saying the right things in the offseason and made Gettleman and Shurmur believers enough to cough up a ridiculous sum for this oversized baby with an exceptional talent. His sideline antics show he has less restraint than my 5-year-old son. What upsets me the most about moving on from Eli is that this self-centered prima donna becomes the voice and the face of the organization. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Colorado G-Men show. We'll be at the Tavern in Platt Park in Denver, the Lazy Dog in Boulder, and the Good Company Bar in Colorado Springs for all the games. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Go Giants!